everybody, and welcome to the New Mind Cafe podcast. I am so glad you're joining us for another episode. Today, I interview my good friend Violet Rey. She's a talented musician and singer and songwriter from Southern California. We dive into her inspiration, which often stems from real-life scenarios, and how music serves as her outlet for expressing her inner emotions. It was a fantastic conversation, and I loved hearing more about Violet's journey. At the beginning of the episode, you'll hear me give Violet a special gift. And if you're curious about that special gift, visit our website at www.neumindcafe.com and check out the online coffee shop tab. Stick around until the end to hear a clip of Violet Rey's music. You can also find her on Instagram at Violet Rey Music, VioletRey Music, MUSIC, as well as on YouTube and SoundCloud under Violet Rey. Again, that's Violet Rey, spelled with R-E-Y. All right, that's enough from me. Hope you enjoy the episode. Thanks. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the New Mind Cafe. Today, I am welcoming Violet Rey. Say hi.
Yellow. Yellow.
Is that your favorite color?
No. It's my favorite greeting, though.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's like dad core.
And to welcome you, I'm going to throw some coffee at you. Here you go. Ready?
Oh, my God. Is this mine?
That's for you.
No way.
Yep.
Toronto roast.
Tell me what you think about it. Not right now, but like, take it home, roast it up.
Delicious.
First interaction good so far, I guess, the smell. But yeah, that's
you know what? I smelled some velvety sweetness. I smelled some hints of allspice and some lemon. A little bit of chocolate, I actually think so.
Wow.
And some nutty pistachio.
You have a great nose because that's exactly what's written on the cupping notes.
I know. Even with active COVID right now, my nose is still great.
Well, we're in the studio. You are the first person to be here in this studio doing an episode. So, welcome.
No way.
Yep, glad you're here.
First female guest. And guest.
You are actually the first female guest.
I don't get just the denominative female part. I get the whole thing.
You are literally the first female guest. So here we are. We're going to have a little casual conversation, if that's all right with you. Cheers.
No.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, I'm excited to have this interview with you. It's been a long time coming.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Geez. Yes, because of my perpetual... Oh, my God. Sorry, Zach. I'm in Alaska right now. I'm sorry. I forgot.
It's been a lot of those, but no pressure. I'm glad you're here.
And the worst part is, like, they've all been real. Like, I've not lied to you once. It's all just been, like, catastrophic misplanning on my part.
It's all good. No.
I need an Apple Watch so bad. I need a carer, to be honest.
A what?
A carer.
What is that?
Like somebody to care for me.
Oh,
yeah.
Like a caregiver?
Yes, yeah. I need one of those. I need a boy slave.
Oh, man.
I mean, I'd pay him well.
What?
Give him
I don't know if that's a slave.
$7 an hour.
Okay.
That's a great wage.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
In Indiana.
Well, with all that jargon, let's get to it.
Let's get into it.
We've known each other for a while. We've been playing music. We've had some gigs here and there together. Been super awesome. I think my favorite memory, music-wise, with you has been going busking.
Yes.
And just kind of, for those of you that don't know what busking means, I say busking a lot, like as if everyone knows.
Oh, I know. And I feel so awesome when I say it.
A lot of people are like,
ask, and
what?
I'm like, yeah, so it's basically like being super freaking cool and like on the street and like being a bard.
A bard?
Basically.
What is...
For the public.
What is a bard?
What is a bard? Are you for real now?
Yeah.
A bard? A bard's like a dude with a lute that entertains the court. What do you mean?
Like medieval times? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
That's what I used to be in my past life. No, I think definitely my favorite was Venice, when we had those homeless guys like come up and start rapping with us.
Yeah, that was awesome. Oh, busking. Busking is playing out on the streets, basically like having a tip jar out and just playing music. But yeah, people have joined us. People just kind of like, oh, I have my guitar right now. Can I play with you?
I've been slightly scared every time.
Yeah? It can be a little intimidating.
I kind of put like a
little freaky.
like 4-foot berth between me and whoever is walking up.
Yeah, like you can't trust everybody that approaches you, but
no.
for the most part, like interactions are pretty sweet. It's usually pretty fun. Like people come up and they share their talents and you do a song or two and then they just carry on with whatever they're doing.
Yeah, if they immediately start singing about like the system and like war on the streets and like killing babies, you're like, oh God, okay.
Oh.
He's got a lot to say.
Then it's time to pack up.
You're like,
home.
Guys, let's pack up because this is his stage now.
Well, if you don't mind, could I ask you a few questions about your music and
sure.
how that came about? And yeah, let's just get into it.
Sounds good.
Is there a moment in your life where music has just kind of transformed you? Just absolutely, like you start playing, or maybe you start writing a song. Like, do you have an experience like that?
Yeah, probably. I think probably my best example for that would be, well, I mean, if you were to ask me, like, when was the, moment that music started for you? It's like, I don't really have an answer for that because I feel like I've not always been a musician, but I've always just been interested in music. Mostly when I was a kid, I was really interested in singing. And then I had a weird moment in my childhood.
How old? How old were you?
Don't remember when it started. Like, It's just been that forever.
Yeah.
And then I remember being like a preteen and thinking like, I don't like music. I don't even know why. And then I realized it was because, no, I just like a really niche corner of music. And I don't like, what I'm hearing at TJ Maxx and Marshall's, but I like my little corner. And so I think the moment that it transformed for me was when I kind of started to take it more seriously. I started to really listen to a lot more Bluegrass because that's kind of what I grew up on. Mm-hmm. My dad was a huge, person to start that for me. We would listen to a lot of Bluegrass, listen to it in the car and stuff. And so I started to listen to it a lot, and then I'd start to just learn the songs that I really liked, and then kind of start playing with instruments. Because before that, it was just singing to like tracks and stuff. And it's kind of hard to find tracks for a lot of these songs that I grew up like singing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I started to really pick up instruments. I grew up playing piano, but I was such a terrible student that I actually got kicked out. And so I think the moment it transformed, though, was when I first competed at the Topanga Banjo Fiddle Contest. Because my parents... Topanga Banjo Fiddle Contest.
Wow.
Yes, it's a mouthful. And I remember telling
you were playing.
Yeah, I was. God, I think I was 15, either 15 or 17 when I did the first year, and I'd grown up going to the festival like just as a spectator with my family, and I remember like telling my folks one year, I'm like, oh, I signed up to compete, and they were like definitely scared.
Oh, they didn't even know.
No, I just signed up, and they were definitely scared. They're like, oh God, she's gonna have like an Ashley Simpson moment up there. It's going to be really bad. And then I won. And so like that, I think getting that reception and like being in front of the crowd and all that and like getting a little accolade for something that I felt like was always like something I was very interested in. I was always interested in singing. That really made me take it more seriously. And then I started to play instruments more. That year I competed with a ukulele because I didn't even know how to play guitar yet. Like I would try to play guitar, but I just didn't have like any finger strength or like dexterity. And so I started with ukulele, but I tuned it. It was so weird. I like made up this weird tuning because I wanted to play Doc Watson's Walk On Boy. And I tuned the ukulele to the last 4 strings of a guitar, capoed up a fret.
Oh.
Yeah. Because if I did that, I could play the guitar chords, missing the first 2 strings, and it would work. I don't even know.
Okay.
I don't know how I arrived to that conclusion.
That is so interesting. So, like, you kind of made your own tuning.
And then I still capoed it because Doc Watson's voice is so low that I had to, like, figure out where my register was for that. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that was definitely the moment where I was like, oh, wait a sec. Like, I can definitely get very addicted to this.
That's awesome.
And it made me really kind of take music more seriously and do it a lot more for fun.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's cool. How many people were in that contest?
I think there was there was a preliminary round and then a finalist round. And so if you didn't pass the preliminary, then you didn't get to go on the big stage. And I think in the preliminary, there was something like 40 people.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe about that. And I think in the finals is probably about like 15 to 20, if I'm remembering correctly.
Jeez. Okay.
And so I like, oh my God, when I got through the preliminary, I was like, oh my God, no.
Were there other people like your age?
Yeah, there was these other girls there because I did it for 2 more years after that. And every year I would see them there. And what was great about Topanga is that like everybody was so nice. I didn't really ever feel, even though we literally were competing, like I didn't feel like we were, you know, rivals. Mm-hmm. It felt more just like, good luck, you too. Yeah. It was very sweet. Yeah. Very sweet. I feel like bluegrass people tend to be just very more supportive. Like that. It's more just people who are just there because they love this niche genre. Yeah. Yeah. And so everybody there is just like so excited that there's other people that love this genre. And so, yeah, I just love the crowd and the community of bluegrass. And so, yeah, it was very positive.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
Okay, let's back up a little bit. Did you grow up in the South? Like what? How did you said your dad?
The South,
like bluegrass
of California.
Music, the South of California.
South of California. Well, my dad grew up in Camarillo.
Okay.
And I mean, it's in no way the South, but I mean, in the 70s and whatnot, it was more rural, I guess. But I don't really think that was the influence. I think my dad just grew up. I mean, my dad's older, and so my parents are both older, and so I feel like I get just a wider. I'm glad I have older parents just because I feel like I got exposed to such a wider range of culture from like everything from like the 60s up. And so he grew up watching a lot of like old shows and stuff like that. Like I remember he said that he would grow up watching like Beverly Hillbillies. And so when like I'm 7 years old, he'd like buy the DVDs and like let us watch it and stuff like that. And so I think somewhere along the lines, he just came across bluegrass or it was just part of the community culture to like know of it. Yeah. I don't even think it had the name bluegrass at that point. I think it was more just like country and like, you know. And so he always loved it. He grew up kind of exposing us to that. And my sisters really didn't care that much about it. But for me, it was like, oh my God, it was just like my soul music. Like that is just what I want to listen to at all times, basically. And so
it like resonated with you.
Yeah, it wrapped itself up in nostalgia for me.
What?
And so
Go deeper with that. I was going to say, what was it about it? So nostalgia.
Well, also because I grew up going, my dad had some jobs in New Mexico a lot. And so we would take a lot of road trips and stuff back and forth to New Mexico. And even New Mexico was like really nostalgic for me. But I just feel like we would listen to a lot of, you know, music like that. And so I kind of grew up with both bluegrass, exposure, and then also, you know, you're just driving through like this cowboy country your entire childhood. Yeah. And so it just became a very comforting, like kind of aesthetic and musical style, even though bluegrass is not like, you know, Southwest, but just all together it felt very like warm and cozy. But yeah, I remember I was such an attention hog when I was a kid. I swear I was probably the most obnoxious. Now that I teach like day camps and stuff, I was probably the most obnoxious kid in my classroom. But I remember like singing. We do like show and tell, and I'm like, I'm gonna sing, and like I would sing these stupid like bluegrass hymns, these like ultra religious bluegrass hymns in front of the classroom, and my teachers would be like, "Oh my God, it's so cute, like it's so lovely," and my friends were like, "What song is that? I don't know what song. That's not Will.I.am." So I don't know.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So you just kind of you like already found sort of your thing.
It just it had already been there for me. Yeah, I was lucky where it was already there for me. When I meet a lot of people that play, I always ask them like, "How'd you find bluegrass? Like, what drew you to it?" And a lot of them it's like, "Oh, I just discovered it a few years ago. Like, I just found it a few years ago." Yeah. And so I do feel like lucky in that way of like, oh, I've always had bluegrass. Like, I've always loved it. Yeah. That kind of thing.
With you, it's been there all along. Yeah.
Like my dad, he like would learn banjo when we were growing up and stuff like that. And then I finally used his banjos to like learn banjo. And so, stuff like that. So it was already there.
Ukulele started. Yeah. That was what you started playing.
I started with piano.
Oh, you started with piano. Okay.
When I was like a really little kid to about 8. I think from 5 to, I think it was like 5 to 9, I was playing piano, at piano lessons. And, oh my God, when I got to college, I was like kicking myself for not being a better student and not staying with it, because it really does teach you a ton about music just to have that mental image of like a keyboard. Because I still use those skills now of like, it's easy to orient yourself on a keyboard and just like transpose that knowledge onto any instrument.
Totally.
But I was just such a catastrophically bad student. Oh my God. I was always the kid who like would do well in the in the subjects, like in terms of like tests, like I would test well, but I would just be a disaster in other ways. Like I remember I got on my report card in 4th grade, I got like demerits for my desk organization. Cause like you look at my desk, it's just like shoved in papers. And like I'd always forget my homework folder. I was just really disorganized. And so I'd go to piano class every week and be like, I did not practice at all this week. I'm so sorry. And like every single week it was that. And so my teacher finally was like, we're not getting anywhere. Like it's been 6 months. We're learning this first measure again and again and again. So yeah.
That's funny. I took piano lessons too in middle school though. So like a little bit later on in life than you were at.
Yeah.
And at that point I was already like kind of teaching myself piano and just like, watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I would show up to rehearsal. I'd show up to class just kind of like not reading the music at all, but just kind of like I would play it by ear and I would just do my best to figure it out. And then from there I'd like memorize it.
Ooh.
So I was doing it for about a year and then I realized I'm just cheating. Like I'm not getting anything
too
out of this.
freaking good.
No, it wasn't that. Like I'm not doing what I should be doing, which is like actually reading the music. Like, my teacher would play it for me and I'd go, oh, okay, I know what it should sound like.
Yeah, I'm not actually learning the language though.
Yeah.
And then when I got into college, I like thought I wanted to be an art major just because I was so avoidant of math and science at all costs. And I was good at art, and so I'm like, I could see myself doing that. Yeah. But then when I get to college, I took a music class just for fun. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be a music major. Like, that's my calling. And then I remember, like, this really, still hates guts, wish the worst upon him. This choir teacher, he, like, looked at me and he's like, no, not literally, sorry. God's listening. That's so bad. But I remember, like, I didn't want to be a vocalist because I was taking choir and I realized I don't want to learn Italian and, like, I don't want to learn,
Italian? What do you mean?
I don't want to learn, like, the pronunciation alphabet that vocalists have to learn. They have to do all this, like, really intense stuff for, and, like, I was already in choir and I already felt like that was sapping the life force out of me to go to choir. And so I want to be a guitarist. And he was like, have you had 8 years of experience in middle school orchestra doing this class? And I'm like, no. I'm like, how much can I learn in a summer before next year? And he's like, I really don't think it's going to happen.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, okay. Dream dashed. Dream destroyed.
Jeez.
Set the dream on fire. And so I'm like, forget that. Back to art. But I don't know where it's going with that. But anyways, in college, that's when I think that's when I was really kicking myself of like not being more technical.
Yeah.
But so far it's been okay. I mean, I am definitely hitting a wall where it's like playing the same chords over and over again. Like it's getting boring. Got to learn more stuff. And so that's definitely what's on the to-do list is like learn more theory for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like, so same with me, like the piano lessons were helpful, to get that music theory and have that understanding of it.
The visual listeners will laugh at that moment.
Go check out the YouTube.
Yeah.
So the music theory was like, it was there. Like I started to get a better understanding of it. And like you said, with like being able to transpose and like having this visual keyboard out in front of you and the black and white keys and, super helpful to like get those patterns down. For me at least, I got to a point where I'm like, that's cool. Like I can play Mary Had a Little Lamb in key of G, and then I can play it in key of F if I wanted to, or C. I can move it all over. I can make Mary Had a Little Lamb into a minor key if I wanted to. But then I just got so bored.
You learn all about the different like modes.
Yeah, and like I didn't get super far with it, but with music theory. But I definitely got to a point where I found myself sort of like I can be sufficient enough with what I know now.
Yeah. When it started getting, I was like, this is for somebody who enjoys solving Rubik's Cubes and doing puzzles.
Yeah.
And I've never been the Rubik's Cube kid. I've always been the cup stacker. I'm not the Rubik's Cuber.
Can you get more in depth with that? Like, why was the music theory just like,
when it gets like really
dull? Was it just not?
Yeah, it just gets,
like, what?
It just gets like, when it gets really technical, I've just never been, I've been somebody who's like always just winging things and like figuring it out.
Yeah.
And, it's to a detriment in a lot of ways, but I've never been that kind of type A person that is really, able to focus super well on like these really technical aspects of music and stuff like that. And then at the same token, I felt like it was getting further away from what I actually liked of music, which was like, you know, when I sit down and like write a song, I'm not thinking about like, okay, I'm gonna go from the first into the fourth, and then I'm gonna divert expectations and go back to the second. It's like I'm not thinking like that.
Yeah.
I'm just going.
That's like the negative side. That's the not side.
I mean, it's positive.
You doing? Like how does?
It's positive for some people, but not. I guess not for me. For me, it's literally just like, for the most part, most of my songs were written at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And it would just be these moments where I just like can't sleep. Something's, you know, bothering me. It's kind of just like a restless feeling, and I would just get up and like just like write a song in like an hour. And so a lot of my songs, very few of my songs were written in more than one session. It's only I've only done the multi-session thing where I've written most of it and I just have to like fill it in. But I put the bones there already. Yeah.
So is it like what comes first, like music and then lyrics?
What comes first usually, honestly, for me at this point, is that I will, especially now that I have a car, it's like when I'm driving, I feel like little melodies will kind of pop in my brain. And it's usually like a handful of words will pop into my brain. And like one little line that I really like will kind of be the center of a song. Yeah. And so I'll be like, I really like this line, and I really like where this goes in terms of an idea. I'm going to like try to figure out the melody first for the most part, and then flesh out the lyrics. And then a lot of the times my second or third sessions in like writing the same song are just me like de-corny-ifying the lyrics. Because like first pass isn't always great. I don't know, just like something when like the lyrics just feel corny or like obvious. Or like if somebody listening feels like they could predict what I'm going to say next. Yeah. I was like, oh God, that's so corny. Like I'll try to reword it in a way without getting also pretentious, but I do like to make my songs very cryptic too. Cause I'll tell people like what the exact message is, and they'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that was it. Yeah. Because I like doing that, because I like thinking that somebody listening to it can transpose whatever is bothering them onto it, and that it can fit a lot of scenarios. Yeah. Yeah, like, that's awesome. Like my song, House on Fire, like that's the whole song. I remember this memory.
Where can people listen to that?
They can listen to House on Fire on SoundCloud from Violet Rey Music, or on my Instagram, Violet Rey Music, Violet R-E-Y Music. And most of the lyrics sounds like it's literally talking about somebody's house being on fire. And like, my house is on fire, that sucks. Here's why it sucks, you know, sentimental things of like, you know, it's my house, I love that house, that kind of thing. And I remember playing it at an open mic once, and I feel like such a jerk, but this one old lady went, did that really happen? Did your house really burn down? Oh, jeez. And I went, no, it's a metaphor. And she went, oh. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you, like, I felt like I was calling her an idiot. But I'm like, it's a metaphor. It's like that song was really about like a relationship burning. Oh, yeah. It was about like a relationship crumbling. And, you know, like, I have one line of like, used to draw on these walls and I see pieces of myself in every room. It's like, I used to, you know you as a person really well, and I saw a lot of my own qualities in you, basically. And so it's like a way of saying that without saying it directly. Because I want people to be able to hear that song and be like, oh, like maybe someone's house literally did burn, and they like that song because it's, you know, cathartic. But I don't know. I definitely like keeping the message pretty cryptic, hidden under other lyrics.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
No, really, that's awesome.
I'm like, yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
You got it. I think that's when art is more attractive, is like when there is something hidden within, and you have to really look at it, you have to view it, you have to listen to it over and over and over. We've talked about Pink Floyd before. That's my favorite band. The Wall album is phenomenal, and I feel like every time I listen to it, there's like, oh, I missed that. I've listened to this like 10 times. How did I miss that one piece, that one word that you threw in there.
Or like you feel like you realize what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, wait a sec.
Yeah.
Easter egg.
It's like every time.
Yeah.
So I think for you to incorporate art where it's not just like this surface level, like, I wrote a song. That's cool. Yeah. That's exciting. Look what I did. But it's more like you are fully getting into the depths of like whatever the feeling is, whatever you're writing about, and you're expressing yourself. That's so cool.
Yeah. I feel like when I was a kid, I definitely was writing songs just so I had something to sing, just so I could like be an attention hog again. And just so I had something to, I was like, I wanted to be like a Disney Channel kid so bad. I was like, this is my pop song. And like, I would literally just rip other people's songs and like rewrite them. Yeah. Not realizing that I was doing that. But then I think definitely when I got into my teens, it was more like, I just need to express something. And I don't even care if anybody listens to it or not. It's like, I'm just making this for myself in a way. And to show my mom. That's basically it. And like, I think she like actually understood a lot of what I was feeling about. I mean, for most of my music, it was about like one particular relationship. And so I think when she would hear these songs, it really like made her understand what was going on in my brain. Especially when I would explain what it was about. And it just basically was just cathartic process for me. Because a lot of the songs were just about like being frustrated and like being upset at the situation. Yeah. And so kind of getting that out, and then also getting the praise from other people of like, what a great song. It like makes you feel like you've been like validated in that a little bit.
It helps for sure. Because like, not that that's like the main focus, and it doesn't sound like it is with you. Yeah. Maybe like in your younger years.
It definitely was.
Attention hog.
Oh, attention hog, yeah.
But like, there's something about like, you write something, you express yourself, you get those feelings out there into the universe, whatever, and then someone responds to it, and they receive it, and they go, oh, like, I see you. I hear what you just went through. I didn't know that. That can be, like, really, really cathartic, because it allows you to, again, just feel seen. Yeah. Like, yeah, I do have existence. I do have value. I'm here. And these are the thoughts that I've poured out into this music. Yeah. That's awesome. So your mom's been like very supportive of that?
Oh yeah. She like loves, she's like, do you write any new songs lately? And like sadly this year has been like, no. Yeah. But in the past it was like, oh yeah, I wrote one 2 days ago. Like, you want to hear it? And she's like, yeah. And then it's so funny though, she'd be like so brutally honest with me. She's like, I didn't like that part. But I think it did make some songs better for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Didn't you write a song this year?
I wrote some, so I had to, when I lost that main, I had that one main situation, basically this very not great relationship that I wrote most of my songs about. When that went away in a fireball from hell, I kind of like lost, it was weird because I remember when it happened, I really thought that it would propel me to write a lot of like, quote unquote, like breakup-y songs.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, the whole thing just hurt so bad that I was like, I don't even feel like, and like, I feel like I tied so much emotion into like, oh, I wrote so many songs about this situation that I don't even want to touch music. Like, it kind of did ruin it for me for a little bit. And I had to like step away and figure out something else to inspire me when it came to music. Yeah. And so I've like recently gotten back into that. And it's also like, once you step away, it's easy to, lose the habit of it. Not that it was ever something that I did just compulsively, because I feel like music in the past was always just like this compulsive thing for me. But I did take a sec to like find my inspiration again and find something to sing about again.
So what are ways that you can like stay inspired to keep writing?
Suffer.
Oh God. That's the only way.
Suffer.
You said that with a smile on your face too.
You must suffer. You must, all the great musicians were like raging alcoholics that, destroyed their families or something.
Let me ask you it this way, like, bluegrass. Yeah. Is there a lot of suffering with bluegrass? There might be.
Oh yeah.
But, you had also mentioned like driving out to New Mexico and listening to these songs, like, could that possibly be like going out into the cowboy country, like you said? Yeah. Could that be a way of like maybe reinvigorating some sort of inspiration?
I just felt like, oh, nobody wants to hear a happy song. My life is so great. Screw you guys. I'm doing awesome. Like, what? But I do think that there's a lot of country. I'm especially jumping back into like old country big time right now, which I never really explored that much. I was always very specifically bluegrass. But I'm listening to like a lot of Johnny Cash, like Marty Robbins, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And those songs are very like upbeat and happy and like whatnot. But they can be upbeat and kind of happy toned, but not even about happy situations, just about like fun little stories. And a lot of times these songs aren't even like real stories. They're like stories about this made up thing. But they're really fun. And so I'm kind of inspired by that, like all these little ballad stories about like cowboys and stuff. Not that I'm literally going to write a song about a cowboy, but I'm just saying like there's more things that I can write that are not directly just like, my life sucks so much, and here's why.
Have you listened to Casey Musgraves?
I think I've heard that name so many times, but yeah, I think I have.
She's got like this interesting new take on like kind of country music, kind of folk music.
Like murder ballads?
What?
You've ever heard? That's a thing.
No.
It's an actual thing. It's called murder ballads.
No, I've never heard that.
Like, there's one really, really old one that I love called Oh Me Wise. And it's like this song that's literally descended from peasant England of like this one girl that gets killed by her like man, not her boyfriend, because her courtship partner. I don't know what they called it then.
Yeah.
She gets killed by him because she was pregnant with his bastard baby, and so he drowned her. But murder ballads can be like really dark like that. They can be really.
I was going a whole different direction.
They can be really dark like that, but some of them are really fun and like funny and like one is like Wanted Man by
Earl.
Is that? I don't know if that's one I know.
The Dixie Chicks.
Oh no, I don't know if I know that one.
Oh come on.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was going a whole different direction. I was saying
sorry
Casey
that
Musgraves
derailed the train. Just took it off the tracks.
She writes songs that are like, they have that country like bluegrass element. They're also kind of like pop-esque.
Oh, boo.
And so like,
sorry.
But she does like, she's able like, there's one song that she has, one song that's titled, what is it titled? High Horse, I want to say it's called.
Yeah.
So like
it has smoking weed on a horse.
No, it's not.
Sorry.
But it's got like that element of like the cowboy-esque kind of thing. So it's got like this country. It's also like upbeat, poppy sort of.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if that's like a direction, but I think what's cool about music and like, especially from what I've heard about your music is like, it sounds like the journey is what guides you. Yeah,
for sure.
And so like,
it's a
maybe
lot of
me even just giving you these like, maybe listen to her, like she's got that style, but maybe that's not even helpful because like, it sounds like you step into a situation and then, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you step into a situation and then you sort of see where the guitar leads you, where the banjo leads you, where the piano leads you. It'll really just be,
I'll really just try to see it is a lot of like introspective thought, I guess, of like, what is bothering me lately, that kind of thing. Or like, that, I think that's really what it is that something will be bothering me and I won't really know how to dispense that emotion other than like writing about it and singing about it. And then once I feel like writing about it helps me kind of identify what's bothering me too. And wording it kind of helps. And you kind of like explore it and develop it. And so it is kind of this self-indulgent, like self-therapizing in a way by writing music. But yeah, my like method of writing isn't very linear at all. It's kind of just this little melody popped in my head. And then I have this little line that I wrote in my notes app that I think sounds cool and like has a good idea behind it. And I'll be like, maybe they can go together. And like I'll like put them together and they'll be like, oh, that sucks. Or like, oh, that's really great. And then like I'll just kind of, a lot of times I'll just find something like that and then the rest of the song will kind of just write itself as I play with it. And I'll kind of just figure it out from there on. But I don't do a lot of like more traditional songwriting where it's like I'm gonna figure out the melody on my piano first, and then write lyrics. To me, it's very lyric forward mostly. I think the lyrics are the most important part of the song, and for me, it's like I want the lyrics to be the most essential element, like the most impressive element. I want to be the lyrics. Because I think a lot of my inspirations are very lyric heavy. Like my all time is a guy named Townes Van Zandt. And he like died.
music inspiration.
Yes, yeah. I found him when I was like probably 17, 18. Before that, it was definitely Doc Watson was like my favorite. But then I found Towns, and he just had these just like devastating lyrics. And I love Doc because his playing was really fun, like his guitar playing and like his songs really fun. And then I love Towns because his lyrics were just, oh my God, they were just so beautiful. And you're like, this is a great song that I want to like read the song. Like I want to read the poem of this song. Yeah. And so that kind of took me in a different direction where I was definitely more like, okay, I'm not even writing songs. I'm kind of just writing poems that I want to write and then putting them to music.
You like Bob Dylan.
Yeah, I like Bob Dylan too.
And I think Bob Dylan does a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Like,
and David Ronk.
Doesn't have like the best voice. I don't think he's ever claimed to be like one of the world's greatest musicians, but like still world renowned.
Right.
Because of like just that same mentality. Like he has these beautiful poems.
Right.
That he then is like, well, I'm not just going to put a poem out there. Like he gets these poems together
on Patreon. Here's on Bob Dylan's Patreon, my newest poem,
his blog or whatever. And then he puts music to it.
No, I'm glad you said that because that is something that's always in my mind. Because listen, I'm definitely not the best singer in Ventura County, and that's not even being like humble. It's like I don't have the greatest range and whatnot. I can't do a bunch of.
You won the Topanga banjo fiddle contest.
But I think it's because I had a weird, I had an interesting thing. And that's really what I try to do too is like, I'm definitely not the best guitarist. I'm not even the best guitarist in this room right now. Like, I'm not the best guitarist. I'm not the best singer. But if I can be good at those things and then be a really good songwriter, all that together might be something special. It's like in my mind, like, in your hopes.
I would say it is special for sure.
Oh, thank you.
No, for sure. Like, I've seen you play. I've played, like, right next to you, too. And people pay attention to what you're doing. People really focus on what you're doing, which is awesome. Like,
and I want to just straight to the veins. Oh, so good. Oh, my God, so good. Tell me more. No, just kidding.
Even that old lady that may have not understood your song.
Yeah.
She still had enough connection to it to, like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you really lose your house? And who knows, like, we live in Southern California. Maybe she lost her house and that, like, really, and she wanted someone else to, like, oh, you too?
Yeah.
I don't know what her story is. But the fact that she, like, even just that, like, someone paid attention enough, even though it was a metaphor, paid attention enough to go, oh, no.
Yeah.
So, like, you have this way of, like, drawing people in, which is really, really cool.
You know what's even better than crack cocaine? Is when people go, did you really write that? And I'm like, oh, yes. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Thank you so much. That is like my favorite.
Have you had crack cocaine before?
No, but I imagine it's worse than that feeling. It's not as good as that feeling. But yeah, I know. I like, especially because, like, I'm a pretty goofy gal. I'm a pretty, like, I don't know, sometimes I can be just straight up, like, childish and, like, annoying. But I feel like it's funny because I feel like I have two different sides for sure. It's, like, my daytime goofy, happy, literally just saying, like, Gen Z slang in front of my friends, embarrassing them. I have that side that comes out, and then I definitely have, like, this way more melancholy, introspective, quiet side. And that used to be dominant in my life. And so, but nowadays,
were you like the emo kid in high school?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was like trying to be emo, but then I was like, tan and kind of chubby and with curly hair. Didn't really work out that great. I'm like Hispanic and not really emphasizing the emo aspect. But yeah, and so it is funny when like I show my friends my stuff and they're like, oh, this is sad. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, it's just a little sad. Yeah. Sorry, guys. But yeah, and then I think a lot of my music too, it's like, part of it was, I was like, I just want to see what I make so that I can pin down what I like in music, a lot. Because I feel like my genre, what I write isn't necessarily what I listen to, but it's kind of its own thing. Yeah. And so I'm like, maybe I can just have my own flavor and not doing it on purpose, but just like whatever I make, it does kind of have like a genre that I don't really know how to pinpoint sometimes. Yeah. Like, especially on SoundCloud, I'm like, what do you want to hashtag it with? I'm like, folk, pop? Is it pop? And I'm like, oh God. Like, I don't really know what it is. And so I feel like that's another thing that I try to lean into to make myself stand out, I guess. Is like, okay, maybe I'm not the best singer, maybe not the best guitarist, but I have like this weird little vibe that's all mine. That kind of thing. And yeah. And so I remember, and then another, better than heroin was when this one guy...
I thought it was crack cocaine.
Well, that was better than crack, but this one's better than heroin.
Okay. Different. Okay.
Was when I told one guy came up to me afterwards, after this old guy who's like a producer. Oh my God, I accidentally ghosted him. I feel terrible about it, but he was like wanted to produce stuff for me. Oh God. But he came up to me afterwards. He's like, what are your like influences and whatnot? I'm like, oh, I really love Townes Van Zandt. And he's like, oh, I can tell. And I was like, oh my God, yes, yes, yes. I like felt so validated by that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he's probably my closest to like center vibe, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I totally relate to that. No, absolutely. Why didn't you go forward with the producing?
I'm just basically, like I said, the very disorganized person to like a fault. Yeah. And now I can't even go back to the open mic because I work at my EMT shift that day. But I don't know. It's like, I just like, I'll put it on my to-do list and then my to-do list will start to give me anxiety. And I'll just like stare at it. I'm like, I should get back to that guy. I really should. And then I'm like, I'm going to keep watching, YouTube shorts instead. Watching some idiot make slime. Like, why? I don't know why, but I'm paralyzed right now. I can't do my to-do list.
Oh, I understand.
And I'm still getting better at that. I think that's part of growing up right there, but...
I think that's sort of the grind with, like, the local art scene.
Yeah.
Whether you're a painter, whatever, musician, actor, like, you might enjoy that. You might have those sort of avenues where you can do that. You can, like you said, open mic nights, and you can do local things.
Yeah.
And you share what you got. But then at the end of the day, you still got to pay bills. You still got to go to school. You still got to, all these things still have to happen.
When you're small time, it's like you have to balance working on the dream alongside, like, being realistic.
Yeah.
And that's, like, the devastating part for me is that I remember growing up, I always told myself, I'm like, I'm going to give myself until 25 to give it a real concerted effort to make it. And then after that, I'm going to have to just be real with myself and be like, it's probably not going to. Now I'm like, 25 is a baby. Like, I push those numbers a little bit. Yeah. And I'm also, like, feeling guilty because I'm like, I don't even think I put a full effort in yet, And so it is kind of, you're always kind of balancing of, like, like, I gotta work on my classes right now. I can't really sit here and play music. Like, I gotta do other stuff. But then you feel guilty of, like, oh, did I not give it enough of an effort?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's like me with this coffee industry right now.
Yeah.
And doing the podcast, doing my own music, and doing, like, coffee roasting. Like, there's a part of me that's like, it's been a year now that I've been at this. And I'm kind of like, oh, well, I didn't make enough money like I thought I was. So should I stop now? Should I change course? And it's like, but it's just been a year. Like, why am I so hard on myself? Right. Why would I give up so easily? I gotta keep it going. On top of, like, also having another part-time job so that I can be able to pay my bills and do all the things that I have to do to survive. So, like, it is that weird balance. But having those venues, those avenues to, like, express yourself and still get that out there.
I think it's definitely a balance of, like, drive and luck. But if you don't have the drive, you'll never see the luck of it all, you know? And so, but yeah. So, as I'm, like, about to start, this super difficult program academically, it's like, I'm still trying to see the dream. Yeah. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. My biggest, I think definitely my biggest, like, bottleneck in terms of me making music is just that I abhor, like, producing and, like, mixing and mastering and, like, software. And so that's
I love mixing and mastering.
You're psychotic. No, I love just, like, playing, but then I get red light anxiety for sure, where it's like recording starts and I'm like, okay.
Red light anxiety.
You're, like, playing your song. It's really just chords. It's like chords that aren't even bar chords, and you're just, like, playing, and then the closer you get to the end, you're like, don't mess up now. And then, and then somebody enters your room and you're like, damn it! You messed it up! Like, you're so pissed. Or, like, your dog barks or something.
Yeah.
God, you just messed it up.
Yeah, a little bit ago, I heard the dog barking outside, so for you guys listening, you're probably going to hear that too. But yeah, totally. Like, I think there's another element too of like, I guess like how serious are we taking it?
Right. Yeah.
Are we expecting to be like freaking Justin Bieber, who like, you know, we post a video online and then some rich producer is like, I want you, you know? Like
rich, potentially criminal man.
Oh, is he? What?
It's like, no, not Usher. Sorry, Usher. It was P. Diddy or whatever. I don't know. Sorry. Oh, shit. It's total derailment. But yeah. For sure. And then it's also like you telling yourself, you're like, am I even that good? Period. And then you go to like an open mic night and then these randos like hype you up. Yeah. And you're like, I am good. I'm so good. Yeah. And then you're like, no, I'm really not. And like,
yeah, I only have 200 followers on Facebook or Facebook. We use Facebook.
MySpace.
So like, there's all these like elements that absolutely go against us in the art world, but once we like get ourselves out there enough and we get like those moments of like just that rando at open mic night. Yeah. It's so encouraging.
It is. Like, yeah. And then the deeper you get in, I think the easier it is to like keep at it and stay motivated. Yeah. And then once you walk away from it for a moment, it's really easy to like just give up. Yeah. But you know, then I'll still have those moments where like I need to write this down, like I need to get this out, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Life's just been pretty good, so I haven't had that many like terrible moments.
Well, that's good though.
That is good. I know there's more coming for me, and then the songs will be great. Oh my god. Yeah, literally I think my best songs were like the most painful feelings behind them. Oh, I totally get that. And then I'm like, damn it, this is not a sustainable relationship between me and music to destroy my mind just to write a good song.
Has there been a song that's just like surprised you? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it was this one that I wrote called Absence, and it was...
Also on SoundCloud?
Also on SoundCloud.
Violet Rey Music?
Violet Rey Music, R-A-Y Music. Yeah. And that was definitely, like, when you asked me that question, I'm like, Absence. Like, that's definitely the song in my mind that had the most heartache, pour your heart onto the freaking ground, like, feeling.
So were you, like, before writing it, you were feeling these things, and then was it, like, you started writing and you're like, oh, shit.
I literally wrote it on a lunch break.
Okay.
Like in 30 minutes, it was pen to paper done. And I really didn't edit it much. Okay. And it's because just for days on end, I was like figuring out the lyrics I was figuring out the sentiments, not even on purpose for the music, but just feeling them and like wording them in my mind. That when it came time to write them, I was like, oh, I'm going to say this. And what surprised me about it was that was the first time I mashed like two different, I had two different like voice memo recordings that I really liked. And then it turned out one was going to be the verse, one was going to be the chorus. And when I mashed them together, I'm like, this works perfectly. Yeah. And it makes sense together. Yeah. And so that song is just like pure sadness, but in a really like delicious way, like really yummy way. It's like when I was writing, I was like, like I'm like, pow! It like felt like I was like jabbing the situation that I was upset at to write it. It like felt so satisfying. But yeah, and then I actually showed that song to the subject of the song, and he was like, "Oh, this is the most beautiful song ever." I'm like, "Oh my god, this is fueling more songs."
Oh wow!
Yeah. That was not healthy, but really great for the music. Really great for the music.
Was it like a letter?
Basically a love letter. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically an entire manifesto, to be honest, to that person. Yeah. And I'm like kind of so jealous that like I wish somebody would write something like that for me. And devastate me similarly.
Before this, we were talking about how Chat GPT has become really human-like.
Like an AI boyfriend, yeah.
Yeah, maybe you could ask.
Maybe I can, I'll get into a really bad situation with ChatGPT, and then I'll write some, like, techno beat of, like, Chat, you broke my heart, why'd you do that?
Get out the Notes app.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
I write it down on my Notes app. Yeah.
Can I ask you one more question?
Sure. Your mother's maiden name.
No.
Your social security number.
Could you?
The last four digits of your social security number.
So I like to ask artists, not really what is it that you do, but why do you do it?
I don't know. Like, there's not really a why for me. It's just I do it. And, like, that's kind of it. It's like I think, like we said, like, at first it was definitely me just wanting something to sing because I felt good singing. Like, it was fun to sing. Mm-hmm. And then it just became, like, I just have to do this. Like, it feels like it's like the same why anybody does anything with art that has a genuine expression behind it rather than just being, like, paint by numbers. It's like, you just feel like you gotta. And so, you just feel like you gotta.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? Come on.
It's literally like this little, like, Mars Attack man in my brain just manning the machine, and it, like, moves me over to the guitar, and he's like, let's do this. I don't know. It's like, it used to definitely just be a way for me to, like, finally go to sleep, was like, I can feel like I can get this out. And then it just became really satisfying. I just realized that it's so satisfying to write these songs and walk away with something that I feel proud of too. And it just makes you feel, you know, like you made something interesting, you made something that other people like, and it also is something that's cathartic for you. And so it's just like a fun process, and especially fun when you get to go play it in places and, like, see what people think about it. It's just kind of like that artist impulse that I don't really know if anybody knows why, you know, people do it, just that, you know, it makes some cool stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, you know, I don't really know why. I just do it. I just do it. But yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, maybe one more question.
Okay.
This might be getting into the depths. Just the depths.
For sure.
I remember you used to draw. Mm-hmm. Do you still draw? Do you do sketches and things like that?
Not as much. Definitely not as much. But I have been feeling like the impulse to paint more. Mm-hmm. I felt when I was a kid, when it came to art, when it came to visual art, when I was a kid, I felt like I had, like, all the ideas in the world and none of the skill set yet. And then when I went to college and started doing art classes, like, okay, I'm acquiring the skill set, but I'm lost when it comes to the ideas. And so that actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because I do sometimes mingle my visual art impulse with my music. I've done that for a few songs. I've done that for Wander. I wrote
like you make a video or something?
I make a music video for it, or I make artwork for it. My newer song that I haven't even put anywhere yet is one called White Sands. Mm-hmm. And really the white sand part of it, in my mind, because the whole song is about time, and it's about, or not about time, it's about, like, burnout related to time. It's like feeling like you're, you know, not moving fast enough, not moving enough for how much time has passed. Mm-hmm. And so the white sand aspect in my mind is about, like, an hourglass, like white sand. And I really wanted to make a little animation of that, because there's lyrics, it says, "Can't you see I'm rowing up a grade of white sand?" And so I wanted to put, like, a little boat rowing up a, like, hourglass cone, and then tumbling back down, and then rowing up, and then tumbling back down. And so I feel like I will find inspiration to draw now from my music more so.
That's awesome.
And I'll, like, figure out a visual for it. But lately, when it comes to, like, visual art, no, I don't feel that compulsion as much as I did as a kid. Mm-hmm. I feel more of a compulsion towards music, but then music will, like, begat art from it.
Yeah.
And so I will pair them together. And, like, for my first song that I posted, I think it was Youth, I made, like, a little, like, baby hand with, like, a watch tattoo on it and stuff like that. And so, like, I'll put little time lapses.
I did not realize that was your art.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I drew that. Yeah, and so I like making art for it. But Wander, I made a whole little animation. That was so devastating too. I'm like, I spent the most time on that one, and that one got the least attention. And I was, like, so proud of it too. Yeah. But I made a cute little animation for that one. I like making music videos, and I think that's kind of how I still maintain the art part.
Which one are you saying didn't get the most attention?
It was called it wasn't Wander. No, it was called Tomorrow. And that has a little animation for it.
That's on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow, Violet Rey.
Everyone who's listening to this,
you gotta go
all
boost
five
those,
of you right now?
Gotta go boost those numbers, put some little fire emojis in the comments. Hype me up.
Violet Rey Music on YouTube?
Yes.
And
R-E-Y.
It's what song?
It's Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
God, I hope I'm remembering that correctly, but yes, I believe it. I believe it is Tomorrow, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming on and just explaining your bluegrass and your art and your, what did you call it? Your folk pop, maybe
no,
pop, some
not
sort
pop,
of music.
Not pop. Hopefully not. Yeah, my folk weird music, I guess. I don't know. It's not even that weird. But yeah.
Great music. I love your music. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate getting to live out my fantasy of being interviewed. So I do appreciate that.
I'm no Jimmy Fallon. But yeah, Violet Rey, thank you so much. Enjoy that coffee.
Thank you. I will.
And we'll do some more music soon.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
You hold out your hand so you would put a flower in my hair. I still shake as I stand, at least better than the way I would stare. Don't hurt me today, but it'll sure hurt tomorrow. The cost of the game for a while. Keep paying out.
Thank you all so much for listening to this New Mind Cafe podcast. We really appreciate your support with this journey of exploring creative people and getting inspired by many different art forms. When I'm not working on music or podcast episodes, I'm working on the other component of my small business, which is roasting coffee. So if you want to follow along all of what my business New Mind Cafe is doing in the coffee and the arts industries, then please check out our website at www.neumindcafe.com. On there you'll find upcoming events, gigs, podcast episodes, music, products, and all the links to the social media and platforms to stream music. If you are enjoying this podcast, please like, subscribe, leave a rating, or comment wherever you're hearing this podcast. And please, please, please share this with others. We are trying to spread the word about what we are doing, and we want to include others in this as well. So if you or someone you know is creative and wants to share, then please email us at neumindcafe@gmail.com. Thank you all again, and have such a great day.
Tell me even if it not be true. You know I'd roll the dice, 'cause I've only got snake eyes for you.